Don't wait up, she said, grabbing her overnight bag and keys. What do you mean? I asked, standing in the doorway of our condo in Santa Fe. It's just a girls' retreat, Eli, she smiled. You could use some alone time anyway. That was the last time I saw my wife, Maeve, in person. 3 days later, our joint bank account was empty. Her phone was disconnected. And I found a goodbye letter, unsigned, folded between 2 couch cushions like she couldn't even bother to leave it on the table. I'm Eli Harker. I'm 39. I manage field ops for a utility company in New Mexico. And apparently, I was the last to realize my marriage ended before it even began. I met Maeve 6 years ago during a maintenance inspection in Taos. She was working in public relations for the Energy Commission, one of those people who can make wildfires and power outages sound poetic. She wore boots like she actually used them, and had this laugh that made you forget whatever it was you were worried about. I was elbow deep in an underground junction box when she handed me a cold bottle of water and said, "You look like someone who forgets to take care of themselves." That was Maeve, always giving you what you didn't know you needed, and taking it away just as fast. We got married 2 years later in a small adobe church just outside of Lammy. No big crowd, just a dozen friends and her inner circle, 3 women she called her soul sisters. Sierra, Juno, and Kendra. They weren't bridesmaids. They were co-conspirators. I never quite fit with them. They were yoga studio types, big into moon phases, burning sage, calling each other goddess. Sierra worked in art therapy, Juno did birth chart readings on Instagram, and Kendra? I never knew exactly what Kendra did. But she always seemed to be around at our dinners, our weekends away, even once on our anniversary. The first red flag? Our honeymoon. We were in Sedona. I'd booked this quiet little rental near Oak Creek, thinking we'd spend time just the 2 of us, hiking, unplugging, starting off right. But 2 days in, Maeve gets a call and says, "Kendra just went through a breakup. She's flying in tomorrow. I hope that's okay." It wasn't, but I said it was. That became the rhythm of our marriage. Her friends had access to her, I didn't. Plans changed, always last minute, and it was always for them. Sierra had a rough day at the studio. Juno's car broke down. We're doing a sacred silence retreat next weekend. No room for disagreement. Disagreement meant you were controlling or not in alignment. One night, about a year into the marriage, we were watching TV, just a simple Thursday evening, and I reached for her hand. She pulled away and said, "You're always so available, Eli. You don't have to orbit me all the time." I laughed it off. Thought maybe I was being clingy. Maybe she just needed space. But wasn't space. It was distance. There were other things too. She kept her phone locked, always on silent. She'd tilt the screen away when texting. When I asked who it was, she'd say, "It's just the girls. Goddess talk. You wouldn't get it." Once, I found a photo of myself on her phone. Sleeping. She'd added a filter to it, some silly dog ears, and the caption read, "Literal golden retriever energy, face with tears of joy." It had been sent in a group thread. I asked about it and she brushed it off. It's a compliment. People love golden retrievers. I told myself not to overthink it. One weekend, I suggested a camping trip, just the 2 of us. She hesitated. What if we invited the girls? I said no. And for the first time in our marriage, she looked at me like a stranger. Looking back now, I see it all so clearly. I wasn't her partner. I was an extra. The audience to a performance I didn't even know I was watching. It was a Thursday morning in early March when Maeve told me she'd be heading up north for the weekend, a women's clarity retreat, somewhere near Pagosa Springs. No phone reception, she said. It's all off-grid. No distractions, just breath work, rivers, and sisterhood. I'd heard this speech before. Usually it meant I'd get the house to myself for a couple of nights, order takeout, watch dumb action movies, maybe fix something in the garage I'd been putting off. I helped her load the Subaru. She kissed me on the cheek, not lips, cheek, and said, "Don't wait up." Strange phrasing, but I didn't question it. I should have. Friday went by uneventfully. Saturday afternoon, I noticed she hadn't texted. Not unusual. But by Sunday morning, I started to feel that old tightness in my chest. A voice, quiet but sharp, whispering, "Something's not right." Her phone went straight to voicemail. Not off. Disconnected. Her Instagram. Gone. Not just silent. Deleted. I checked the joint bank account. Empty. Savings also drained. Even the emergency fund she insisted we keep just in case. Gone. My stomach dropped like I'd been pushed off a building in my sleep. I tore the house apart looking for answers. She hadn't packed much, but the one thing that stood out was absence. No toothbrush, no birth certificate, no wedding ring, not in a dish, not in a drawer. Like she'd vaporized. That's when I found the letter. Folded 3 times, wedged deep in the corner of the couch, like an afterthought. Typed. Not handwritten. It read, Eli, this probably feels sudden, but it's been coming for a long time. I need space. Real space. Not just physical. I've lost myself trying to be what you needed. Please don't look for me. This is what's best for both of us. M. No love, no signature. Just M. Like she was ghostwriting the breakup of her own life. I stood in the living room with that paper in my hand, feeling like the walls had grown teeth. The silence of the house wasn't peaceful anymore. It was mocking. I called Sierra. Hey, have you heard from Maeve? A pause. I thought she was with you. I could tell she was lying. Something in her voice, too practiced, too even. She left Thursday. Said she was going on that retreat with you guys. Oh, I thought she changed her mind. Click. I tried Juno. Straight to voicemail. Kendra didn't even ring. Just a cold robotic voice. This number is no longer in service. That night, I sat in the dark on the kitchen floor, watching the red LED on the coffee maker blink 12 o'clock like a metronome. She was gone. Not missing. Gone. And no one else seemed to care. Monday morning, I called in sick. Then I stayed home for the next 3 days. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything in my head. The kiss on the cheek, the emptied accounts, the silence. It didn't feel like a woman who was confused. It felt like a woman who had rehearsed. On Wednesday, I sat at her old desk and opened her laptop. The one I almost never touched. It was still logged in. Chrome browser, open. Several tabs. One of them was a shared Google Drive folder. Name, Mother House. Inside were spreadsheets, budgets, checklists, a PDF labeled Exit Protocol. It read like a project plan. 1 month before, establish P.O. Box. 2 weeks before, liquidate non-joint savings. 3 days before, forward mail, disable Find My. Day of, cash withdrawal, initiate number change, delete socials. I clicked through another doc. A calendar. Dates color-coded. Maeve's initials appeared next to tasks like notify Sierra, cancel Eli's name on lease, and prepare farewell note. Keep vague. My vision tunneled. 1 folder deeper, labeled threads, contained chat transcripts. Group messages between Maeve, Sierra, Juno, and Kendra going back 6 months. Juno, he won't see it coming. Guys like that never do. Maeve, I'm done living inside someone else's version of a life. Sierra, what if he shows up at your job? Kendra, then we make it messy. Say he got obsessive. People believe that fast. Maeve, he's not dangerous. Just attached. Too much. Always there. Watching TV like that's enough. I don't know how long I sat there. At some point, I realized the sun had gone down. The only light in the room came from a laptop screen, and the sickly blue cast it painted across the desk. I forwarded everything to myself, then unplugged the computer. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was numb. Like someone had taken a mold of my life and quietly replaced it with a hollow replica. I called my brother Seth in Durango. He answered on the second ring. Hey man, everything all right? My voice cracked. Can I crash with you for a bit? He didn't ask questions. Just said, spare room's yours. Come tonight if you need. So I packed a duffel bag, clothes, phone charger, nothing else, and left. No note. No goodbye. Just turned out the lights, locked the door behind me, and drove north. Somewhere around Chama, I pulled over, stared at the stars stretching over the desert sky, and let myself cry. Not because she was gone, but because I finally understood. She'd been planning to leave me while sleeping next to me every night. The silence lasted 6 days. Then she called. Not a text, not an email. A direct call from an unknown number, New Mexico area code. I stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. Then another call, same number. Then voicemail. Her voice came through my phone like a ghost. Eli, I don't know what you've heard or what you think you found, but this isn't what you think. I didn't want to hurt you. I just needed space. Please call me back. She sounded composed. Soft. Like a therapist easing into a hard conversation. I didn't call back. 2 hours later, another message, this time from Sierra. Eli, don't be dramatic. She needed time. You're turning this into something it's not. Then Juno, you're violating her boundaries by not accepting the break. The language, clinical, rehearsed. Like they'd prepped it ahead of time. Like a script designed to disarm me. Then came the text from Maeve herself. I left because I was suffocating. You were kind, but you never saw me. You only saw the version of me you wanted. Suffocating? Was that what she called me, bringing her soup when she was sick? Fixing her car's alternator at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday? Paying her half of the rent when her freelance gigs dried up? Seth found me on the back porch of his place that night, just staring out at the frozen trees. She reached out. I nodded. He handed me a beer and said nothing for a while. Then, you answer. No. Good. But the messages kept coming. From different numbers. New email accounts. Even a burner Instagram profile with no picture that just DM'd me. You don't get to disappear and make her the villain. That's when I realized it wasn't about reconciliation. It was about control. A week later, Seth came home with a weird look on his face. She came by the office. Maeve, in person. She said she was worried. Told the receptionist you were unstable. That she was afraid you might hurt yourself. I felt my blood go cold. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about closure. It was about narrative. She was rewriting the ending. Painting me as the one who broke. Not her. That night, I texted a lawyer, someone Seth knew through a friend. Her name was Lydia Haynes. Divorce, digital harassment, restraining orders, her specialty. We set up a consultation for the next day. And for the first time in weeks, I slept through the night. Not peacefully, but with certainty. It was a Tuesday when Maeve showed up in person. I was loading groceries into the back of Seth's truck outside a small co-op market in Durango when I heard someone say my name behind me. Eli. I turned. There she was. Same wool coat. Same silver earrings I bought her in Taos. Hair pinned up like she always did when she was trying to look centered. But something in her eyes was different. Tight. Calculating. You've been ignoring me, she said, voice calm, like we were bumping into each other at a dinner party. I've been recovering, I replied. There's a difference. She looked away for a moment, like she'd practiced this part, and I wasn't following the script. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I laughed once, bitter and low. You emptied my bank account, vanished, and fed a lie to everyone who would listen. That's not hard. What would easy look like, Maeve? Her jaw clenched. I never meant to hurt you. But you made everything about you. You smothered me. You needed me to be your everything. No, I said. I needed you to be honest. I needed you to not take my life apart like it was some group experiment between you and your coven. Her face twitched at that. They were trying to help. Help what? Stage a psychological exit strategy? Rewrite the narrative so you're the wounded heroine and I'm the possessive husband. She crossed her arms. You're twisting this. I left because I needed to reclaim who I am. You didn't reclaim anything, I said. You ran. And then when I didn't chase you the way you expected, you panicked. That's what this is. The parking lot went still. I could hear someone's car beeping 3 rows over. A dog barking in the back of a Subaru nearby. Somewhere a wind chime clanged. I loved you, she said finally. Her voice cracked, for real this time. I just couldn't breathe anymore. I nodded. Then you should have said something, instead of planning an ambush disguised as self-care. She opened her mouth, closed it, then quietly. So what now? Now, I said, stepping back. Now we don't talk again. You don't mean that. I do. She looked stunned, like she was finally seeing the version of me she never thought would show up, the version that had boundaries, silence, resolve. I'm filing, I said. My attorney will be in touch. Don't contact me again. And with that, I walked away. Not angry, not broken, just done. The next morning, Lydia, my attorney, filed the divorce petition. It included documentation of the group chats, screenshots of the exit protocol, and Maeve's visit to Seth's office, falsely claiming I was unstable. Within 48 hours, Maeve had been served. She didn't contest it. No calls, no legal pushback, just silence. I think, deep down, she knew she'd gone too far, and she couldn't twist the story anymore without proof crumbling in her hands. 3 weeks later, I moved out of Seth's spare room and into a 1-bedroom on the east side of Durango. It was nothing special, exposed pipes, a crooked screen door, walls that needed paint. But it was mine. No more checking what crystals were on the windowsill. No more retreat weekends. No more apologizing for existing too close to someone who claimed to love me. I started going to the gym again. Signed up for a weekend course on solar installation, something I'd always meant to learn. Bought a used guitar off Craigslist and taught myself a couple songs. Not because I was trying to reinvent myself, but because I finally had space to exist. Not as someone's husband. Not as a walking emotional sponge. Just Eli. 2 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a text from an unknown number. No name. No punctuation. Just, I saw you walking downtown today. You look different. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I blocked the number and went back to what I was doing, sitting on a bench near the Onomus River, eating a sandwich in the sun. A few months later, I bumped into a mutual acquaintance at the hardware store. Guy named Lewis ran the same volunteer fire crew Maeve used to train with. You hear about her? He asked. No. Tried that retreat life thing full time. Moved to Flagstaff. Didn't work out. Now she's back in Albuquerque, living with her sister. I nodded. Didn't feel anything. No gloating. No anger. No sadness. Just quiet. And I think that's what healing actually looks like. Not revenge. Not fireworks. Just the absence of need. No more checking your phone, hoping for a text. No more rehearsing what you'll say if they come back. Just breathing. Just living. Just being okay. I used to think being left was the worst thing that could happen to a person. But it wasn't. Being erased slowly, day by day, until you don't recognize yourself anymore. That's worse. So when she disappeared, she didn't break me. She gave me back to myself.